This is an oral storytelling game where players use elements on chosen cards to include in a story. The game has been created in PowerPoint. The first screen is the title and enter screen. I called the game You Are the Storyteller. It's a game for up to 4 players. Each player will choose 5 story cards and 1 ending card. Let's look at the next screen. This screen gives the basics of the game and welcomes the players. It says, "Welcome to the table, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story." One player will be the first storyteller. This can be decided through either age or alphabetical order according to the first name. The next screen explains how to play the game and spells out the rules. It explains the object and how to win the game. The first player to use all of their story cards and their ending card first wins the game. Players can tell any kind of story they can come up with. They should be encouraged to be as creative and descriptive as possible. Let's look at the next screen where it explains the types of cards players will see and use. Each card will have an identifying icon on it, such as this icon for character and this icon for settings. Each player will select 5 story cards, which might include characters, the people or creatures that the story is about, objects, which are items to incorporate into the story, setting. The settings will change throughout the story depending on who is the current storyteller. Characters. On these cards, players might have to incorporate descriptions about their characters, settings, and objects. There are happenings cards. These are events and things that happen, for example, fighting or a storm or a fire. And then we have interruption cards. These cards will have any of the already mentioned elements, but they can also act as a wild card of sorts. If a player has an interruption card and is not the storyteller, they can steal or take over the story by appropriately using the element on the interruption card. In other words, if the element on the card is fighting and the player tries to use the interruption card, but fighting does not make sense at this point in the story, then they cannot take over the story. But if it works, they are now the storyteller. When a takeover happens, this will change the entire course of the story because the object is to direct the story to the chosen ending card, which might be different than the previous player's ending. And the final card is the ending card. Each ending card features a possible ending to a story. The players must do their best to tell a story that will eventually end in the way their chosen ending says it ends. From here, there are 4 screens, 1 for each player. In order, players should take turns sitting in front of the computer to select their cards. They will select their cards simply by clicking on them, revealing the elements underneath. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, this is player 1 screen. It tells the player at the top, choose 5 story cards and 1 the end card. So they will just simply click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they'll choose an ending. So in this case, this player has a witch, a disguise as a characteristic, a death as a happening, a fight as a happening, an escape as a happening, which is also an interruption card, and their ending is, and for all I know, they may be dancing right now. So they have to come up with a story using these 5 elements and this ending. In order to remember the cards, players should either take a picture of the screen and write down their 5 story cards and their ending, making sure to note any interruption cards that they have chosen. Each player should have paper and pencil in front of them so that they can mark down each element or card that they use or scratch them off as they tell their story. Once all players have selected their cards, the already chosen player, first player or storyteller, may begin. So after this first player chooses their cards, They should click the screen for player 2, and then player 2 will sit down. So let's see how that looks. Click it, and now it's player 2's turn. So player 2 sits down in front of the screen. They make their 5 selections and their ending card. Oh. Okay, we're going to pretend that I didn't glitch there. Anyway, player 2 is sitting down in front of the screen. They choose their 5 story cards and their ending card, and they make a note of their cards, and so on and so forth. When it's going to be player 3's turn, player 2 should be the person to click for the player 3 screen, so that that player 3 will not see the story elements for player 2. So that's how it works. Once all the players have their chosen cards and have marked them down so they know what their elements are, the game may begin. And that's the storyteller game.